Our heroes are those whose actions and works have made great impact on our lives and society today.
Nigeria has many of them, and in Reminisce today will feature one whose footsteps still stand the test of time. There is Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was born on the 16th of November 1904 in the northern town called Zungeru. He was born of Igbo parents and his father was a clerk in the Nigerian regiment at Zungeru. His parents gave him the name Benjamin, but perhaps out of patriotism for which he was known for, he later changed it to Nnamdi.
He learned to speak in the country's three major dialects, Igbo, Yoruba and Hausa, a skill which later benefited his courses for nationalism and political power. He was able to master this communication skill, having lived and schooled in all the regions of the country. He attended the Church Missionary Society's Central School in Onitsha, Hope Waddell Training Institute in Calabar, and the Methodist Boys High School in Lagos. He graduated from secondary school at the top of his class.
If you spoke to Zik in English, he will answer you in English. If you spoke to him in Yoruba, he will answer you in Yoruba throughout. If you spoke to him in Igbo, he will face you with Igbo. Any language you used to address him, he will face you in that language.
He took a break from education between 1921 and 1924 to work as a clerk in the Nigerian Treasury in Lagos. Later on, in 1925, he became the first Nigerian to venture to the United States for further study. There, he attended Storer College, Howard University, and then Lincoln University, where he obtained his first degree in political science in 1930. He went further to obtain his master's degree from Lincoln University in 1932 and the University of Pennsylvania in 1933.
He began his line of careers by teaching political science in the school of his first degree, Lincoln University. This was between 1932 and 1934. There and then, his passion for Pan-African also began to stir him to actualizing his courses towards the unity of Africa and the freedom of his country. This is because at this time and from centuries past, Africa had been under European dominance.
To achieve these goals, he spread his tentacles of many gifts, beginning from publishing books reflecting his passion and ideology of Pan-Africa. He published Liberia in World Politics in 1931, before returning to Africa.
Some other books he authored afterwards include Zik in 1961, My Odyssey, an autobiography he published in 1971, and Renaissance Africa in 1973.
He stretched another tentacle towards the field of journalism, first reporting for the Baltimore Afro-American, Philadelphia Tribune, and the Associated Negro Press in Chicago.
When he got back to Africa in 1934, he became the editor-in-chief of the African Morning Post newspaper in Accra, Gold Coast, now Ghana. There he was jailed in 1936 for publishing an article adjudged to be seditious by the colonial administration. He won the appeal against his imprisonment and returned to Lagos, Nigeria in 1937 to found the West African Pilot newspaper. He later established more newspapers across the country, all under the Zik group of newspapers, and he used this newspaper to spur and to promote a national spirit as well as to condemn the racial injustices of the British colonial masters.
The great Zik of Africa, as he was fondly called, did not only rely on the power of the pen on the pages of his books and newspapers, but also utilized his prowess in oratory, where he got involved in the politics of his country, fighting and biting hard at the colonial administrators until they relinquished their hold on Nigeria.
Oh yes, he did. Zik, as it was also popularly acronymed, learned the art of politics when he joined the Nigerian Youth Movement in 1937 and the Nigerian National Democratic Party in 1941. He gained prominence in politics when, with Herbert Macaulay, he founded the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC in 1944. He became the party's first Secretary General, then later its president in 1946. With the party under his leadership, he brought the Igbo people to the limelight and also advocated for reforms that would involve more Nigerians in the polity of their country.
To make sure that wherever he went and there will be a reception or food being served, he will make sure that all of you will eat from the same plate with him, on the same table during campaign. Very down-to-earth person, but full of knowledge. In the evenings, he will assemble us to be telling us stories about life, about politics. We learned a lot from him.
He was a thorn in the flesh of the colonial administrators when he became a member of the Legislative Council of Nigeria in 1947 to 1951. This is because he continued to push for constitutional changes to involve more Nigerians in their government and eventual independence.
Nnamdi Azikiwe was a dedicated leader, a businessman, and a lover of education.
That's right. When he was the premier of the Eastern region in 1954, Azikiwe promoted investments for development in textile, vegetable oil refineries, steel and chemicals. He also promoted education in the Igbo land and made it possible for many Nigerians to study abroad.
Still on education, he laid the foundation of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in 1960 and served as the Chancellor of the University of Lagos from 1972 to 1976.
As a businessman, he was not only the publisher of a group of newspapers across the country, but was also the founder of the African Continental Bank in 1944.
Azikiwe maintained a neutral political stance during the 1951 constitution that created division among the three major regions. This impartial stance helped him to retain his power on the three regions, as apparent when he became the first NTNT opposition leader in the Western House of Assembly in 1952 to 1953 and became the premier of the Eastern region in 1954 to 1959, also in alliance with Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, who was leader of the Northern People's Congress. He became the president of the Nigerian Senate in 1959.
The northern political principles were favorable to the British colonialists. This was why his coalition with the Northern Political Party also provided the ground for Azikiwe to reap the fruit of his labor when he became the first president of an independent Nigeria, while Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was the prime minister on the 1st of October 1960. These first persons position they both retained in a second-term re-election into office in 1964.
Work, work, work. The good thing is they all came with more rewards than not. They came with local, national and international recognition.
Right again. On the local level, he was made the Nnanyelugo of the prestigious Abalanze Society in 1946. In 1962, he became the Oziziani Obi, a second-rank red cap chief, the Igbo call Ndichie Okwa. And then in 1970, he was installed as Owele Osowanya, a first-rank red cap chief, also called Ndichie Ume.
On other levels, he was awarded a title of Privy Councillor to the Queen of England by Queen Elizabeth II in 1960, and Nigeria conferred him with the highest national honor of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic in 1980.
Finally, he received several honorary degrees from colleges and universities at home and abroad.
It all sounds so good that you would hardly imagine a setback during his lifetime.
Sadly, not even the great Zik was without one or two hitches during his active time. He had his fair share when his political opponents accused him of embezzling public fund for personal use in the 1950s. He was later found guilty by a British tribunal in 1957. In spite of this, he remained in the good books of the Igbo people, who felt he was entitled to enrich himself, having done some good works.
His second term in office as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was short-lived by political instability that rocked the country and thereby attracted a military revolution which unseated him and his fellow civilian colleagues from government on the 15th of January 1966.
He became involved in a civil war the following year by propagating Biafra, the Igbo part of the country that wanted to separate from the whole. He did this alongside Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, who was the proponent of this secession.
And when in August 1969 he reneged in his support of the secession of Biafra for united Nigeria, the Igbo people did not find his act heroic.
When the military took a break after about 13 years of ruling, Azikiwe joined the Nigerian People's Party (NPP) to bid, but in vain, for the civilian presidency in 1979 and 1983. After these final unsuccessful attempts at the leadership post, as well as the military resumption to power in December 31, 1983, Zik retired from politics.
Indeed, he lived a fulfilled life and was once quoted as saying, "My stiffest earthly assignment is ended and my major life's work is done. My country is now free, and I've been honored to be its first indigenous head of state. What more could one desire in life?
Only few men can boast like this.
Yes. Some years after his retirement, the great Zik slumped into protracted illness and died in Enugu at the age of 91 on the 11th of May, 1996.
Zik was married to Flora, and they both had 4 children.
He had been described as a staunch defender of the Igbo people, a national hero, and a vigorous champion of African independence.
He was an outstanding sportsman and a member of many societies and organizations. He has his name still on the lips of many from various national symbols used to immortalize him.
He was a charismatic orator whose opinion counted.
I was assigned to cover 18. That is Zik. So all his political career, all his campaigns, everything, I covered him. Very nice person, very sympathetic person, very gentle.
And we can go on and on and on eulogizing him. But much about him he told in an article he titled My Epitaph, and it reads,
When my epitaph is written, I should be happy if it could be shown that I saw those who thirsted and gave them water to drink, that I saw those who hungered and gave them food to eat, that I saw those who were naked and clothed them, that I saw the blind and helped them to see, that I saw the lame and helped them walk, that I saw the deaf and helped them to hear, that I saw the dumb and helped them to speak, that I saw those in affliction and succored them, that I saw my country in chains and helped to liberate it, that I saw my people in darkness and helped to show them the light, that I tried to love my neighbor as I would that he should love me, that I tried to live by the side of the road and be a friend to a man. Reminisce.